which Black abolitionists utilized violence deserves a more sustained and nuanced analysis. Black resistance was central to abolitionism. Accordingly, Force and Freedom, Black Abolitionists and the Politics of Violence, actively examines one of the perennial questions in political thought. Is violence a valid means of producing social change? Specifically, this study addresses how Black abolitionists answered this question. Black abolitionist ideology not only explains how the politics of violence paved the way for the Civil War, but how the politics of violence helped prepare the nation to view Black people as equal Americans with inalienable rights. Force and Freedom is the first of its kind to offer a close look at the complex and varied ways violence was deployed by antebellum Black activists. While praising the efforts of a few notable men and women abolitionists, most contemporary discussions of the subject routinely lament that nothing good can come from political violence. On the contrary, few good things can be acquired from those in power except by force, often violent force. A retreat from engaging in a complex understanding of the political purposes of violence limits both how we see and make use of the past. Within the field, there is a propensity to privilege the performance of nonviolence and deny the possibility and utility of violence as the great accelerator in American emancipation. Historiography typically follows the chronological pattern of moral suasion. In the 1830s, political abolition in the 1840s, and separatism and immigration in the 1850s. Some historians see the shift from moral suasion to violence as one of declension, with African Americans giving in to despair in the wake of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. Others see the antebellum period as the moment in which the maturation of a Black nationalist consciousness calcified. I align my work with the more recent scholarship of Manisha Sinha, Patrick Rael, Matthew Clavin, and W. Caleb McDaniel, who see this moment as part of the creation of an alternative revolutionary tradition in an age of revolution. I see Black abolitionism as a movement that began almost at the inception of Atlantic world slavery and understood the idea and experience of violence more than any other group. Force and Freedom examines the political and social tensions preceding the American Civil War, as well as the conditions that led many Black abolitionists to believe slavery could be abolished only through violent measures. By exploring Black abolitionists' shift from a campaign of moral persuasion in the 1830s to their push for more combative and violent strategies to end American slavery in the 1850s, I explain the various moments that cultivated their desire for force. The purpose of this study is fourfold. First, I draw scholarly attention to why Black abolitionist leaders prioritized violence over nonviolence as a means for liberation. Second, I explore the factors that precipitated and accelerated this change of perspective toward the use of violence. Third, I address the ways in which Black leaders arrived at a place of mutual agreement, differing with the tactics of various white abolitionist leaders who evoked and employed violence. Fourth, I reveal how the expanding influence of the Black abolitionist movement, from its early orators to the Black press to the formation of militia groups, illustrates the power of Black abolitionists to mobilize their communities, compel national action, and draw international attention. Within the racially charged context of antebellum America, I draw attention to the immense importance of violence to imagining emancipation and, in turn, freedom into being. Why violence? Force and freedom could just as easily be expressed as force for freedom. The paradox of using force and violence to bring about freedom and ensure peace is common within our own Western political context. Violence is the double-edged sword of democracy. In the quest for freedom, violence becomes a necessary liberating force when it is the only remaining option. Understanding political violence is often about understanding an ideology of last resorts. In many ways,